Welcome to today's episode of So What's the Catch? First of all, thank you to everyone who just went on and liked the Facebook page. We really appreciate it. So hopefully you come by and watch our show today, or maybe you're watching this later on a various YouTube platform. I don't know.
Or again on Facebook.
Yeah.
Anyhow, it's good to be here. This is my flu game. I've been sick the past couple days, so but I'm here and I'm on time, so that's half the battle.
So you're pulling a Michael Jordan then?
You don't have the cocoa, do you?
What's that?
You don't have the cocoa, do you?
No. I took a COVID test. I'm negative. I think it's just a stupid flu.
So let me get this straight. You're sick. I have a broken arm. What do you have, James?
My back's a little sore. I did some rack pulls this morning.
All right. Good enough.
That's about it.
Good
We're
enough.
all on equal footing here.
Yes. Exactly. So
We got a big show today.
I know.
Big show. Lots of
A lot of things have happened in the past 48 hours.
Yeah. I mean, I just thought yesterday was going to be a normal, like, franchise tag kind of day. Like, nothing big was going to happen. Like, okay, this player got tagged, big whoop type thing. And, okay, let's move on. What's it called? Free agency opens next week, which officially starts the new league year. And I'm like, okay. But no, we got a shit ton.
Yeah, and there's plenty of more to come, too, from the sound of things. And right before we went live, we had to add to the show sheet because Carson Wentz just got traded to the Commanders. So we'll get to that a little bit later. But, things are happening by the hour in the NFL. Meanwhile, baseball is dead and hockey is hockey. But, yeah, it's the NFL. So even though it's March, it's still the top of the discussion. So it's the best league in the world. What can we say?
100%. I have to say that between the Aaron Rodgers news and the Russell Wilson trade, for me, the bigger story was not Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay. It was Russell Wilson getting traded to Denver because it does two things. One, it adds to what was already a stacked conference in the AFC because I'm not even going to try and name all the young gunslingers that we have who are either already established as superstars or they're on their way to being maybe not superstars, but like on their way to being average to maybe above average quarterbacks.
Yeah. Well, I think anytime a guy changes teams too, it's always going to be the bigger story over a guy staying put. So I agree with you there. But Aaron Rodgers, I think, is definitely the more significant move. I don't know if you guys would agree with me there, but
I do. And here's why I do. One, it made the move for Russell Wilson to go to Denver happen because if Aaron Rodgers goes to Denver, Russell Wilson doesn't go to Denver, obviously.
Mysterious timing, right, James?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Aaron Rodgers supposedly signs or doesn't sign or immunizes contract, whatever he did. And the Russell Wilson trade happened. So you got to think that Denver was kind of waiting to see what Rodgers was going to do.
Right.
Yeah, that and, Green Bay has retained Devontae Adams by using the franchise tag. We'll get into all of that later. But if Rodgers doesn't stay, I don't know if they keep Adams.
No, they don't.
Or if they work out a long-term deal with Adams instead of having to use the tag, So it really – that was the one domino that we were all waiting to fall was the Aaron Rodgers one to figure out what is going to happen this offseason.
Yeah. I understand that. And your arguments are valid, but for me, it's the Russell Wilson thing because, again, it adds to the firepower in the AFC and just further weakens the NFC.
How about the quarterbacks in that conference?
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah. Or, sorry, that division.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's loaded.
Division in football, easily.
Okay, so do you agree or disagree with this statement? Derek Carr is the worst quarterback in the division in the league.
Yeah, I think I do agree with that. He is by far the worst quarterback in that division, but he's definitely the best of the worst. I can't think of a last place guy in any other division that would.
There isn't one.
Yeah, I had to think about what you meant for a second.
Yeah.
But now that I understand what you're saying, 100% agree with you.
Like and Derek Carr's he's no slouch, but
no, he's not. He's not.
He looks
Derek
like
Carr's
Paul Blart Mall Cop compared to these guys.
Derek Carr's a very good quarterback. I mean, people don't necessarily agree with that statement, but he is.
You were advocating for the Browns to trade for him for a brief period of time, James.
It wasn't just a brief period of time. It was almost a year.
Okay.
Now he's not going anywhere. I mean, there's a reason why Josh McDaniels went to Vegas, and it's because Derek Carr is the quarterback. The Patriots were reportedly even talking to the Raiders before last year about trading for Derek Carr. So, there's got to be some sort of connection there. So if we're looking at an offensive coordinator, part of a team that was looking to try and acquire Derek Carr, and he goes to go coach that guy, they're not going to trade him. I know people are just like, the Raiders should just blow it up and tank now because they're screwed for the next forever. They're already screwed to begin with. Let's be real here.
Yeah.
But that's just how it is. I mean, they're not going to win the division anytime soon unless something catastrophic happens. The other three quarterbacks, Simpsons softball game style. You know what I mean? Right. So unless something like that happens, it's going to be a minute. Wild cards, their ticket to the postseason. So
yeah, that's true.
I could see all four teams from the AFC West possibly getting in the playoffs. Is that a bit of a stretch to say or no?
I mean, it's possible now, but
I feel like they'll cannibalize themselves, though. You know what
I mean? Do too. That happens a lot in good divisions. They might not be as, the win-loss record might look worse than a comparable division, but really, in truth, it's because they're beating the hell out of each other, So, yeah, and other times, divisions look really good, and it's actually just because one team is just superior to the other three in the division and is really top-heavy. But
or there's just one team everyone beats up on.
Right.
Like has been, the AFC North with the Browns for forever. So,
or
yeah,
the AFC with the Jets.
Oh, yeah, the Jets or Dolphins. The Jets, Dolphins, and Bills all took turns being that team because the Patriots were just kicking the shit out of everybody.
Yes.
But, you look at the NFC North, it's been pretty much the Packers forever.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the NFC South, that they would always beat up on – who would they beat up on in that crap division?
Carolina.
Mm-hmm.
Carolina, the Bucs during their down years.
Yeah.
Pre-Sean Payton, it was always the Saints. They always beat the fuck out of the Saints.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
They had their number.
Yeah, I would say Atlanta for a period of time also.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
And then in the NFC East, I would say probably Washington.
Oh, it's Washington. It's Washington all the time.
Commanders.
It's all
they just traded for Carson Wentz. So.
Yeah.
Yay!
I don't know what the fuck they're doing.
Who? Nobody does.
We don't know the exact numbers for Rodgers' deal yet, right? Because it was reported some 4-year, $200 million thing, and he immediately refuted that. And Pat McAfee did his just pretty much called false on the report.
Yeah,
his source obviously being Aaron Rodgers himself. So we'll figure out what the number is at some point. It's probably gonna be one of those goofy things with avoidable years on the back end, and it just to play with their salary cap and their contract situation. It's gonna be one of those goofy deals.
Yeah, I mean, Rodgers really cares about what people think of him, and he didn't like the way that they worded him being the highest paid quarterback ever and yada, yada, yada. He wants to come off as a guy who's negotiated a really player-friendly salary so that he could bring guys back, and that's probably nothing, Chirk. What's up, buddy?
The spirit of Kramer is existing to me.
Fair. Okay.
Okay,
One way to start the show.
On Chirk time.
Oh, okay.
Oh, gotcha. I was confused for a second.
Okay.
I thought you were meaning Seinfeld Kramer, not
Yeah, so did I. I was thinking of him as well.
Yeah.
I thought that's where we were going. I thought we were going a little. These pretzels are making me thirsty, Kramer.
Right.
I just said that to hold myself accountable. My bad, guys.
Oh, you're good.
You're good.
James, you are so good with those pop culture references.
He's the king of pop culture.
You are.
But back on to the Aaron Rodgers deal. So he's still in Green Bay. Apparently, the Steelers were in on Aaron Rodgers if he were to leave Green Bay, which isn't surprising. He openly flirted with that team
for a while.
He would go on Pat McAfee and you talk about Pittsburgh and how much he loves Pittsburgh and just speak glowingly of the franchise, which, I mean, there's not really much negative to say about them as a football franchise from a standpoint. From a fan perspective, I mean, fuck the Steelers, but but you can't really say anything negative about them from an organizational standpoint.
No, I mean, they've gone 8,000 years in a row with a winning season, and they've won how many Super Bowls? They have 6, so
6.
Only one team has more, and that's the Tom Brady's.
And the Tom Brady's.
What city do they play in? Retiredville?
Wherever Tom may roam is where they find him.
Okay.
So, Chirk, what was your thoughts on Aaron Rodgers staying in Green Bay?
Not surprising.
Okay. I mean, I felt like
not surprising at all.
I felt like how it unfolded, it was going to be interesting because I felt like it could have gone any direction, really.
When you think about that report that came out at the beginning of the draft last year with Aaron Rodgers and how that put things on eggshells between him and the organization, like there's been questions about Aaron Rodgers' future in Green Bay for a couple of years now. So, I mean, it's the safe pick is to always say, like, they're going to stay put. Mm-hmm. But I'm not going to say I found it surprising, but I disagree a little bit with Chirk. I think that it was, I thought that there was a real possibility that he would explore other options.
Yeah. I mean, for me, it was 100% surprising because once they drafted Jordan Love by trading up, I'm just like, and I saw how Aaron Rodgers responded to that. I'm just like, okay, this relationship appears to be over. Like, I didn't think it was repairable.
I didn't either, especially when it came out that, like, Aaron Rodgers, like, sad drank tequila the night they drafted Jordan Love.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What do they do with Jordan Love now? He's got to be gone, right?
He has no trade value. They have screwed themselves with this situation.
Yeah, that's the problem.
I understand the reason why they drafted Jordan Love. They felt like Aaron Rodgers was closer to the end than we thought. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he's not. He's
MVPs.
He's still really, really good.
He survived the cancel crowd too to win another MVP. I said on this show, there's no chance in hell.
I didn't think he was going to win either.
Yeah, I didn't think he was going to either.
I'm very happy that I was wrong about that, but to survive the cancel culture and still win, back-to-back MVPs, like, he's playing a lot better than I think anyone could have anticipated, even Aaron, to be honest.
I mean, I think what they're trying to, their process, I hate to say this, I hate using the word process being correct, but their process was correct because of the age of Aaron Rodgers and the relative unpredictability of Aaron Rodgers as well.
Yeah, that's another thing.
So they had to protect themselves just in case. Now they have a quarterback who's going to be entering year 3. The limited amount that we've seen of him has been terrible. Mm-hmm. And trading him, you're going to be getting less than pennies on the dollar for him.
Maybe a 7th-round pick at best.
I don't know. You're not going to get much, if anything, for him. I mean,
I'd love to bring him to Cleveland and have him compete with you-know-who.
Baker.
Yeah.
I mean, here's my thing. He's going back to Green Bay, but I still don't think this situation is over because let's say the Packers come up short again. I think he's going to make drama again about, now I am really considering retirement and drag that whole thing on and kind of, I don't want to say pull a Tom Brady where it was like we had to wait and see definitively if Tom Brady was retiring, but it could be a similar situation, if you will.
It feels similar to the Jim Harbaugh situation, kind of,
Yeah, I see that.
Like year after year, there's always been this discussion, like, will he go back to the NFL, blah, blah, blah. Well, that's the new case with Rodgers. It's been like, what's it going to be? What's our future with him going to be? I think if the deal is 4 years, though, I think he's planning on retiring comfortably there, regardless of how things go. I don't think things are going to go poorly, not with how well he's playing and with them franchise tagging, Devontae. Like, they're going to be all right. So I don't know. I don't really see him. Maybe you're right, Josh, just because, his behavior the past few years indicates that that's probably what he will be like for the next few. But I don't know. I'm kind of hoping that this settles things down for Aaron and he just kind of embraces where he's at and finishes out his career strong.
I mean, I want him to do that, like you said, but just based off of his nature and how he's acted the past few years, like you said, it is comparable to the Jim Harbaugh situation. So I agree with you.
I mean, you think Rodgers just got attachment issues with Green Bay?
I don't know if it's that deep. I think he's got real issues with some of the way that the organization has been run for the past few years. Like, he's had real beef with that. Obviously, the Jordan Love conversation,
of course.
Big red flag there between him and ownership. So.
But, like, in his mind, I think he wants to retire winning one more Super Bowl before he rides off into the sunset.
I mean, of course.
Yeah, I think every elite quarterback wants to retire on a Super Bowl victory,
I mean, here's the thing, though. Like, he only has one Super Bowl, and at this point, it was like 11 or 12 years ago, whatever it was.
2010, right?
Yeah. 2010.
Took down the Steelers. I was happy.
Yeah.
Me too.
I was a big-time Packers fan that day.
I became an Aaron Rodgers fan that day.
But it's just like we try to put him in the discussion with Tom Brady, but when it comes to Super Bowls, you obviously can't have that discussion because Brady outweighs him by, I think it's 8 Super Bowls.
Six.
Thank you. Sometimes my math's a little wacky right now.
It's all right. Blame the Percocet.
Yes. But anyway, it's like we try to put Aaron Rodgers in this discussion with the likes of Peyton Manning. Maybe not Eli Manning, because I would say Eli's a bit of an anomaly, but still, like, maybe the Drew Brees of the world or stuff like that, as my dog is randomly barking.
Not mine this time, guys.
Remy, stop barking.
Oh, Remy.
But anyway, you get what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, he's always been like at the tip of people's tongues when they talk about, the greatest of all time. I would say before Brady won the last 2 Super Bowls that he won, there was a real conversation of him being better than Brady. But yeah, he's separated himself so far Super Bowl wise, but from a talent standpoint and a performance standpoint, I mean, it's close. They're pretty much. I'd say, it's probably inarguable that Rodgers is far more talented athletically than Brady.
That's where I'm at. That's where I've always settled on this conversation. If we're talking about talent, we're talking about ability, we're talking about athleticism at the position, Rodgers wins in all 3 of those.
Right.
We're talking about accomplishments. We're talking about getting to where every team wants to go. We're talking about what really matters for football teams, Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Super Bowl MVPs, it's Brady by a mile.
Yeah.
Of course.
And it's like not even particularly close.
It's almost unfair to compare anybody to Brady,
It's not. It's not fair. You're right. I mean, you got to compare him to not Brady.
Right. I think Eli is a more favorable comparison for Rodgers than trying to compare him to Brady. But it's really tough to put guys up against the greatest quarterback of all time, especially with the numbers that he has right now. But
exactly.
Unfortunately, though, that's going to be the conversation for every elite quarterback for the rest of time until someone eventually does, if they do, surpass him. Everybody's going to be compared to him because he's the standard now.
Mm-hmm.
The standard is the standard.
Yeah. And going back to Russell Wilson, I know there were talks, people saying like, oh, the Browns should try and get him or whatnot. And people were saying the same thing about Aaron Rodgers. That was all wishful thinking. There was no way Aaron Rodgers was actually going to come here. And Russell Wilson had said 4 teams before the season started. Guess what? Cleveland was not one of them. So
Yeah, I get that, and that's been a lot of the sentiment on Twitter over the past day or so about both of these guys, Rodgers and Wilson. Okay, but my real gripe with this, like I get that, like they weren't going to land either guy. Okay, my gripe is that it doesn't seem like they even tried.
That's
my issue.
I agree,
and that's where I think the Browns have gotten themselves into a bad spot. They've backed themselves into a corner. Okay, because even a rumor of, hey, the Browns called, or there was a conversation and it was even just quickly over, like they were told no immediately, like, and that was it. They hung up the phone. That would have been a lot more comforting than what appears to be running it back with Baker. Okay.
Yeah,
I agree 100%. The fact that they didn't even pick up the phone or send an email or anything is just shocking.
Something would have been great. And you know what? Like, I know a lot of people are upset, but I'm annoyed. I'm not upset, and that's mostly because where the team is at now versus a year ago. Okay, a year ago, I would have been livid that they didn't do anything because I felt this team was in a much better situation. Right now, this team has no future. Other one, what future? They don't have a future. Are you kidding? You're stuck. You have no receivers if they get rid of Landry. Which the further we go through this offseason, the more guys off the table. Getting rid of him seems terrible. Like a really dumb idea. Okay.
Yeah.
So, like last year, they had Beckham, they had Landry, they had Chubb, Hunts. They signed Clowney. They make all these big moves. Like the one move they didn't make that they should have made would have been a quarterback.
Yep, 100%.
So, I don't feel as optimistic as I did about this team going into next season than I did going into last season. Even though it didn't sound like I was incredibly optimistic for an entire year. Let's be honest here. I kept myself kind of trenched in reality, being like, this team needs to do certain things. If they can't, they're screwed.
Yeah.
Because of the quarterback. So if they were to make a change like this, like I wanted them to a year ago, then I think they would be in a much better spot now than they are with what they have.
Right.
Yeah, I agree. Only a guy like Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady coming out of retirement could have been good enough to take this team to the playoffs. Like, anyone beyond that, this team's not where.
I think Stafford, the guy I advocated for the most, would have. I think Russell Wilson would have. Literally just
anyone who's elite.
Elite guys or guys in that good just below elite tier. You know what I mean? Would have taken this team to the playoffs. And let me add, like, if we had a different quarterback, Odell's still here.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So you're saying Odell was better than Baker?
Odell is a much better football player than Baker.
Yeah, yes. That's an easy yes.
Better quarterback than Baker.
That's even a maybe.
Really? Wow. Whoa.
One training camp with the first team, and he might be as good as Baker.
I mean,
I'm not disagreeing with you actually on that. He probably could have been.
The throw Odell had in the game against Dallas.
Odell could sling it.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I'm saying.
The dude can do it all.
And he had a quarterback number too, 13.
That's true, kid.
Yeah. Okay. But
lions do eat deer.
But the bigger story for me with this whole thing is like the Browns have slidden, if that's a word.
Sure. We'll roll with it.
I'm putting it in Josh and Ease. Don't care. Have slid. There we go. Now I know proper English. Further down the totem pole, because in our own division, you have Lamar Jackson and you have Joe Burrow, and Pittsburgh's the wild card. We don't know what they're going to do. And then
apparently they might be in on Deshaun Watson if that unfolds and he's able to play.
I hope it's not Mason Rudolph for their sake. Good Lord. Did you see that Jim Rome interview? Anybody? Painful. That guy cannot be the guy to lead that organization.
No. Mason Rudolph's not good enough, but if they end up trotting out Mason Rudolph, I'll be happy.
I'll be real.
I'm sorry. I'm not happy about that one as a Browns fan. I cannot say that.
As a Browns
fan. Mason Rudolph sucks, so that's why I want him to play.
Yeah.
Be their starter.
Oh, on the Steelers. My bad. I thought you said you wanted him on the Browns. I was like,
no. Just like how every other fan of every other team wants the Browns to keep Baker and pay him a lot of money to set their franchise back, everyone else wants the Steelers to do the same with Mason Rudolph.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because he's awful. He's terrible. I mean,
not good.
Anyone thinks otherwise is just fooling themselves.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah. Garrett should put him out of his misery.
Yes. But then, so you got those two quarterbacks, and then you have everybody in the AFC West. And then over in the AFC East, you have Josh Allen and then Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm. And you have the question mark on Zach Wilson. We don't know what the hell he's going to be. And Tua and
Zach's had moments, though. Early in the year, Zach had moments where it was
he did. I mean, that team's so far away from being anything.
That's the problem. It's really not easy to get a gauge on a guy when they're surrounded by a team like he's surrounded by.
Right.
He's anomalous to me. He's a guy that I feel could really go either way.
Yeah.
More so than the other guys. I feel like we know the story on those other guys. Like Tua maybe a little bit too. It seems like they're gonna stick with Tua. So we'll see what he can do. I mean, apparently he's accurate as all get up, but that's about all he's got because he's got a limp noodle for an arm.
Yeah. He has no arm strength.
Yeah.
No. Anyway.
Anyone else?
No. Okay, moving on.
All right. Let's go. Carson Wentz got traded to the Commanders. And for 2 third-round picks, I believe. And Washington's paying the full $28 million owed to Carson Wentz this year, which includes a $5 million roster bonus that's due next week. Desperate.
Yeah, that's a good way to describe it.
That's what that is. Good for the Colts to get off of Carson Wentz. They identified that he's not the guy. They apparently have not gotten along. I mean, I thought if anyone was going to fix Carson Wentz, it was going to be Frank Reich, and Carson Wentz lasted, a year there? So
yeah, right. If he can't do it, no one can.
We said, we're good. We're going to get rid of you for nothing. And now he's going to Washington where he gets to play his former team, Philly, twice a year.
The interesting thing, James, with the Commanders is that they reached out to every single team in the league about their quarterback, including Kansas City, about Patrick Mahomes. So these were guys, at least they were making the phone calls. They were trying, They were willing to get shut down by everyone in the league before they went for Carson Wentz, which makes you wonder, what would the Browns, what are the Browns' options at this point,
Yeah.
In terms of this season and what's out there still, when the dust settles, what's left out there for us to pick from?
I mean, you're going to be looking at nobody's really. Marcus Mariota, maybe.
Right. Exactly.
Trubisky's going to get $10 million.
Right.
He should come to Cleveland.
And Trubisky, no. Trubisky's going to get paid that much money. I mean, you can't pay Baker the $18 million and then pay Trubisky $10 million to be a backup. Okay, people bitched enough about Case Keenum's deal. They would their heads would explode if they signed Mitch Trubisky for $10 million.
Yeah.
Okay. Trubisky's probably going to end up going to New York, play for the Giants, compete with Daniel Jones for the starting job, and that will tell you that 1, Daniel Jones sucks, and 2, you have other problems because Mitch Trubisky is now your starting quarterback.
Yeah, what a competition out there with him and Danny Dimes. That's going to be a fun one to watch.
There were talks that the Giants were looking to trade Saquon Barkley.
I mean,
that makes sense though.
Get off Saquon Barkley if they can. I would 100% advise doing that.
I mean,
the Giants.
The Panthers are doing the same thing. They're shot. Rumor has it that they've been shopping around McCaffrey. That position is just so fickle. It's just you should always be looking around to shop a talented running back because they are such a flash in the pan when it comes to their primes, versus
the Browns are lucky that the extension for Nick Chubb is so short and it's not for a lot of money. Okay. Yep. So when this contract's up, I expect Nick Chubb to go elsewhere. Or at least he should. If I'm from the Browns perspective, I wouldn't look to re-up that deal or sign another deal. I mean, because you gotta ask yourself. I mean, The Browns use him quite a bit. He's a physical runner. I mean, he does have speed and some agility, but he's mostly a physical runner. So the hits are going to take their toll eventually. I mean, guys are getting hurt. I mean, look at Dallas. Look at the situation with Zeke.
That's a
great Zeke
comparison.
Shit ton of money.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not that good anymore. Like, I really like Zeke too. And he's not worth the money they're paying him.
At all. Yeah, and I mean, Zeke is one of the most talented running backs to be in the league in this generation. But that's just how short, the life is of a running back in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Guys like Adrian Peterson are anomalies. Like they're few and far between.
Yeah, like here or Emmitt Smith.
Yeah, or even the ageless wonder Frank Gore, who I think last year he didn't play at all, but that was for the first time in almost 20 years.
Yeah,
I mean, shit, Frank Gore played for the U when the U was good.
Right. There's death taxes and Frank Gore at running back somewhere in the NFL.
Yeah.
So I mean, the Giants, if they can get anything for Saquon Barkley, do it. Even if you're getting a perceived loss, take something rather than nothing. When he has the injuries that he had and when he came back and he didn't look very good, he's not going to get better. You know what I mean? It's just how it is. It's reality.
Yep, I agree. You always want to trade a guy while he still is valuable too.
You'd rather trade him 1 year too early than 1 year too late.
You always got to pull the trigger early on running backs. It's just the nature of the game for that position. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Saquon and McCaffrey with different teams here in the near future.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised either. But Carson Wentz, the Commanders, do anything for anyone? No. Desperation.
Yeah, desperation's the right word for it. But at least they tried, at least they've got it on paper that they reached out to all the other guys. That's more than we can say about our administration. So
wait. So how you said the Commanders literally called everyone? So you're saying they actually called us about Baker Mayfield?
Yes.
Yeah. They called every team in the NFL to ask what the status was on their quarterback.
Oh my God, that really does reek of desperation.
It's a
and look who they chose over top of them.
Yeah.
That's a desperate team.
Yep.
That's what that is. We mentioned them just a moment ago, but the Cowboys, they redid the deals for Dak and Zach Martin to create some cap space. They're going to be doing something. I don't know what the hell they're doing. They got to re-sign Michael Gallup. They don't know how they're handling the whole Amari Cooper situation.
That's a weird situation, too, with Cooper.
It seems like he's going to get traded or cut. Apparently, there's 4 or 5 teams, I think, discussing Amari Cooper with him right now.
Yeah.
So a trade could happen.
Not surprisingly, the Browns are not on the list.
The Browns are apparently a team rumored to be interested in Amari Cooper, but that list of guys that they were known to be interested in is basically nobody now.
Right.
Available. But
there was a deposition episode of The Office with Michael Scott when they're asking what David Wallace was Michael Scott really being considered for a corporate position, and he was like, "Yeah, of course, blah blah blah." Yeah, but was he really being considered? He was like, Michael Scott's a nice guy.
What do you want me to say? He's a nice guy.
What do you want me to say? He's a nice guy. I think that's probably what they said when they hung up after the discussion with Baker. Hey, what do you want to say?
Yeah,
nice guy. We had to make the call.
Mediocre player.
Yeah, he is.
I'm not going to outright say he's bad. I can't say that. I really can't.
I'll say he's bad. I'll say he's bad.
He's bad.
What?
I'll say it, yeah.
He's the best quarterback of the Browns franchise.
No, that's false. We went over this last week. It's false. It's abundantly false.
Yeah,
what about if he proves you wrong?
False.
What did you say?
What if he proves you wrong?
I would welcome him to prove me wrong and show me that he's good, because you know what? That would mean that the quarterback search of I don't know, pretty much my entire adult life's over.
Yeah.
So there's this misconception out there, and it's very, very prevalent on Browns Twitter, that people who just want Baker to fail so that we're right and we can just whatever. No, I want him to be good. I realize that he's not, and he's not going to be.
Right.
Yeah.
I'm not sitting out there waiting for him to suck and be like, woohoo, I was right. Fuck all of you guys. It's I want my team to have a quarterback. I want my team to be good.
Yeah. I learned this from a great man. There's the question I always ask myself: would I rather be right or would I rather be happy? And the answer is always I'd rather be happy.
Yes.
And even though I was, would be 100% wrong if Baker comes out and balls out and is an all-pro and takes us to the postseason, but I would be so happy if that happened. So I agree with you, James. There's a very big misconception that people who are anti-Baker are also anti-Browns, and it's such a silly argument.
It really is, because it's 100% false. Like, we are not trying to say we don't want the Browns to win, because we all do. But we have, since 2018, we have film that has shown that Baker Mayfield is consistently inconsistent. Now, the argument people are going to make is that, he had Hugh Jackson as his head coach. Then he had Greg Williams. Then he had Freddie Kitchens. Now he has Kevin Stefanski. That's 4 different offensive systems he's had to learn, and various offensive coordinators. And he was injured in 2021. Yada, yada, yada. No, I'm sorry. You can't do that.
Eventually, you're left with a common theme. Okay, excuses run out, and at the end of the day, there's going to be one thing left, and that person's got to look themselves in the mirror and realize that they're the problem.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's what that is. But we'll come back to some more Brown-specific talk in a minute. But Calvin Ridley likes to make bets, apparently. And apparently he's not very good at it, because he was doing 18 parlays.
Yeah, anybody who's a degenerate gambler like myself knows that 18 parlays are just for clowns. Like, nobody does those. It's a ridiculous thing to do. Like, yeah, maybe you put a $5 bet on an 18 parlay that's like pays out $100,000 just because why not? But it appeared that that's how he bet. Period. Was just like, I'm just doing parlays, and it's like that's just not a good strategy for gambling at all.
No, it's not.
Yeah. But the bigger story came after the news broke that he had been caught. Calvin Ridley on his Twitter comes out and says, I've got $1,500 that says I'm not a gambling addict because $1,500 is all that he gambled on the football games. So he just straight up comes out and makes a joke about it, doubles down on it after people call him out about it. And I mean, he's got a little bit of an argument. I mean, was he wrong? Yes. Like, did he know that there's a rule against it? Yes. But is it also something that is legal and that the NFL is pimping every third commercial on every big sports network? FanDuel, DraftKings, Caesars, Barstool Sportsbook, just every single one of them. Go down the line. You cannot watch anything NFL content related without seeing, these websites advertised.
Right.
And this guy's going to sit for a whole year because he lost $1,500 on a dumb bet. Like, it's just when you compare it to some of the other suspensions that have, there have been served in the NFL and the various offenses of those, it doesn't add up. It doesn't add up. You got guys that are serial domestic abusers who serve less time in suspension than a guy who gambled. And he even bet for his team when he wasn't playing. He's betting against the team. He's not affecting the game in any way. So I just think it's ridiculous. Like, he should have been suspended. But to me, this year-long suspension and them throwing the hammer down to make an example out of him, it's just so clear that this is it's a political move. It's not about what's right.
It's what it is. You're right. Political move. I mean, my issue is, like, as per usual, the NFL and Roger Goodell just moves the goalposts on however they want to throw down these suspensions and hand down how long people are disciplined for. I mean, it's so inconsistent from whatever it is. I mean, like you said, a guy who's a serial domestic abuser gets like 3, 4, 6 games or whatever. Even Myles Garrett, when he knocked Mason Rudolph in the head with his own helmet, he got only a handful of games. He got suspended for less games than Calvin Ridley's about to be suspended for.
He tried to decapitate a man.
He played whack-a-mole with Mason Rudolph's helmet.
Yeah, he tried to end him. So, yeah, there are so many worse offenses that we've seen over the past couple of years that got just these little slap on the wrists, and then, they throw the entire book at Calvin Ridley and alter his entire career. Dumb move, Calvin Ridley. But I have a little bit of sympathy for him because it's like, really, it's comparable to the Josh Gordon situation too. It's something that's legal in the majority of the country now. But he served six different full year suspensions. The guy has just served more suspension time than anybody. And as far as I know, he's never been a violent person or a mean or aggressive person in any way.
Not that we're aware of. Nothing's come out about that. But
it's like we missed out on two really talented people being on the field because for that. And the problem is that there's nothing in place there's no guidelines. It's just whatever Roger Goodell is feeling that day is what happens.
Right. There's nothing definitive. It's to make a pop culture reference, but I'm not going to start singing. It's all blurred lines.
Oh,
maybe that's not the best song reference to use.
Not expecting that one
for that, considering everything that goes on with him and has gone on with that particular song and music video. But I will say that
I digress.
You never know what the hell's going to happen when it comes to a suspension. He could have got his lunch fucked up, then he had to go make a suspension for someone and give someone a harsher suspension.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah. Someone could have been rude to him on the subway. And he'd been like, I got to deal with the suspension. Fuck this guy. Whole season. Or indefinite suspension. And
it's like a personal vendetta. Goodell, it's like he cherry picks who he depending on who he likes and doesn't like.
Yeah.
That's fair. I think that's a fair criticism of Roger Goodell. I think he does have favorites, and
he does.
He holds different players accountable and to different standards, and that's part of the problem too. But when the next CBA comes up, they need to find a way to take this power away from Goodell. He cannot be the end all be all on handling suspensions anymore because he's not good at it. He's proven time and time again that he has bad judgment.
The guy's in his 60s too.
I mean, name one, suspension that he's handed out that wasn't controversial in some way. You know what I mean? I can't remember ever him handing out a suspension and being like, "Oh, yep, that was the right move." There's always a story behind it, and it's there needs to be some sort of legislation in place to protect guys like Calvin Ridley from just being made a scapegoat out of.
Yeah, or being made as a poster child, if you will.
That's synonymous with a scapegoat. So yes.
No, I just wanted to say it in my own way.
All right. So moving on to players who will actually be playing football this year. Kyler Murray put all of his Arizona Cardinals stuff back on Instagram.
Yes.
Yay!
And he's following the team.
He's having some technical difficulties.
Yeah. So are they IG official now again?
Yeah, I think so. I think everything got reloaded back in. He follows the Cardinals again. So it sounds like the drama's kind of over. But.
Yeah, I'd say fences have been mended. And would you say that this means he's staying?
I would say it probably means he's staying. They probably made some progress in contract discussions. Is probably
right.
what preempted this. Let's be real here. Because that was the whole issue to begin with.
Yeah.
Right. I just don't understand what the Cardinals are doing overall. They gave an contract extension to Steve Keim. They gave a contract extension to Cliff Kingsbury. In what world do either of them deserve a contract extension? Cliff Kingsbury, it has happened season after season after season after season.
I'm starting to think that these owners care about how the coach interacts with them more than wins.
Example?
Expand upon that, please.
Yeah. Give me an example.
I need to hear more.
Whoever's kissing the ass to the owner is more likely to have more of a promotion than the person who's actually good.
I mean, that's every
not
job.
all the time, but
that's
at
times.
times.
Yeah.
That's every job. That's every field. That's every profession.
Yeah.
That's just how it is.
That's how society it is, my dude.
So as far as Cliff Kingsbury, I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but it sounds like Kyler Murray going to be there for a minute.
Yeah. Cliff Kingsbury's a handsome dude, though. That's a good-looking guy.
I'll give him that. I will give him that.
His house is nice too.
Yeah, big house.
Yeah.
They probably is like really guarded over it now.
Yeah, terrible coach though.
Yeah, not the best.
And he's not really that good. But I think what they're hoping for is consistency, and he grows and learns some stuff. But like I don't know what their overall plan is.
Nobody does.
Did you guys see Des Bryant's comment about Kyler Murray and how much money he should be getting after he saw the details of Rodgers' contract?
No.
Well, anyway, Des Bryant essentially came out after that and said that Dak and Kyler better get, like, if Rodgers is getting $200 million, they better get $300 and $400 million. Like, they better get more.
Why?
That just wanted to throw that out there. That's Des Bryant and throwing his hat into the ring and saying that I think that he finds those two guys more valuable than Aaron Rodgers somehow. I just thought that was a very controversial take. He's got a lot of heat for it. But he's doubled down on it since he said it. He thinks that Kyler and Dak are better than Rodgers. So I thought that was an interesting comment from him.
What the heck has he been smoking?
I don't know.
No idea. But I mean,
it's a bad take.
It is.
Exactly. That was my point.
The point I bring it up is what kind of money do we expect Kyler Murray to get?
He'll get paid a lot of money. He will.
I know he's going to get a lot, but what I'd say, what's the gap between him and Rodgers?
He'll probably get something like what Josh Allen got.
Okay, yeah,
that's probably what he'll get. He'll get something in that range,
which is probably more than he deserves. But
it is. But I mean, that's what he'll get because
that's what the market demands. So,
because the salary cap goes up.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a standard there. There's precedent.
Yep.
And that's what we'll get because that money will now look less impactful on the overall team building process. So that's just the way it goes. I mean, I think it went up 20-something million.
Yeah.
So it's like up to 208 now. Whoever from the salary cap was below 100 million.
I know. Remember when Alex Rodriguez was the first $100 million player, and it was such a big deal. And now there's how many, multi-$100 million athletes
across all the sports. Yeah,
there's like $200 million now.
It's insane. It's absolutely insane.
It is. But moving on to some more news here. Seahawks release a 6-time All-Pro linebacker, Bobby Wagner.
I hope
Come
that
to the Browns, baby.
picking
Come
up the
to the
phone
Browns.
to talk to his agent. Are we all on the same page there?
The Browns should be calling him now.
Yes.
Right now.
And giving him whatever the hell he wants. Okay.
Give him if he needs a max extension, do it.
Bobby Wagner is very good. He is an 6-time All-Pro, 8-time Pro Bowler, but 6-time All-Pro.
Let Clowney go.
I see what you're doing there, James.
Yeah.
All pros matter.
All pros matter. This is a future Hall of Fame player we're talking about here.
Yeah.
Right. We're not talking about exhibition games.
Yeah. So future Hall of Fame player in Bobby Wagner. He already knows.
And he's only 32 years old.
He's going to be 32, and who cares? You know what? He already knows the defense. He's still an elite player.
Yes.
You would pair him and JOK together as your 2 starting linebackers. Insert whoever the hell you want for the third guy, probably Jacob Phillips, and then you go from there. Your defense becomes that much better because contrary to popular belief, linebackers do matter.
I mean, first of all, the Seahawks claiming that they're not just rebuilding is just insane. The thought that they let Russell Wilson and Bobby Wagner walk, it's kind of crazy. They appear to be rebuilding. They're blowing things up there and rebuilding, whether they say so or not. But no, as soon as I heard the Bobby Wagner news, I was like, yes, that is a guy that you could bring to Cleveland that would have an immediate impact on this defense. We would immediately become a better defensive team with him there. And I think when you look at a guy like Clowney, that's some money that we can let go, and make room for a guy like Wagner. So I'm interested to see if they pursue talks with his agent or what have you. but
They should. Absolutely.
Has there been any reporting of that yet, that the Browns are interested or anything? Because I haven't
seen anything about Bobby Wagner besides him being released.
Yeah.
But, like, I think he'd be a fantastic addition to this defense. We need playmakers. We need guys that can make an impact. Not just in pass rush situations, not just in create chaos type situations that Clowney was. I mean, you go out, you get Wagner, and the middle of your defense just became a hell of a lot better. You still have to address defensive tackle, both of them, and the opposite defensive end, but you could address both those positions in the draft in addition to signing a free agent.
Yeah, and he immediately becomes the captain of that defense too. Like in terms of being the quarterback of the defense, like the Browns don't have that guy on defense. Like Myles Garrett is a D lineman; he's rushing the quarterback every play.
Denzel Ward.
Corners are not quarterbacks of defenses. You traditionally want a safety or a middle linebacker. They tried it with Anthony Walker. They tried it with John Johnson when Walker was out. Neither guy was able to do it.
Yeah, this is a guy who's proven that he can do it year in and year out. So that makes him infinitely more valuable for a defensive team like the Browns.
Right.
So that's the other thing that I think is key here, that some of the things that aren't on paper that he offers a defense. At 32, I think they'd be crazy to not go out there and get him and try to get a couple years out of him.
Mm-hmm. Couldn't agree with you more if I tried.
So we can move to some franchise tags that are happening.
There were a ton of them.
Yeah. Did the Adams tag happen yet, Devontae?
Yes, it did. The entire list of guys here are all official.
Real quick, how do you feel about Austin?
About Austin Hooper? He's in the next segment if you just want to wait a couple minutes.
Oh, my bad. I was impatient a little bit there.
We have the list of franchise tags here. It's Devontae Adams, which is not surprising.
No.
Yeah.
Chris Godwin, who they're still trying to work out a long deal with as well, but also not surprising. Also noted Browns target that's now off the board.
Not coming to Cleveland.
Orlando Brown Jr. got tagged in Kansas City. Cam Robinson got tagged. So another lineman, Dalton Schultz, tight end for the Cowboys, was tagged. Jesse Bates, safety for the Bengals. And Mike Gesicki was tagged, as well as David Njoku. So that's three tight ends that were tagged. Kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's baffling to me. I cannot believe we're gonna pay David Njoku what we're gonna pay him.
For what?
Yeah, James. I mean, we kind of talked about this last week with the article that you wrote about Njoku and his production. Like, it's just not there. Like, you can't. He's had one good game, really. I mean, there's a couple games where he's got a touchdown here and there, but like in terms of production beyond a couple touchdowns, like the guy hasn't done anything to warrant anywhere near the type of money that he's going to be making this year.
Exactly.
And you're going to keep Hooper also?
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
One or the other, one of the others got to go if you're asking me. And I would have rather Njoku been the one to go if you ask me.
Njoku's the player who falls into the category that so many people get trapped into, and that's they look at traits. Okay, yep. At some point, traits got to turn into production. Okay, yes. I don't care how much potential the guy has. If he never turns into shit, he ain't shit. Okay,
right.
Yeah. And that's what they're at right now. We're 5 years into this whole thing, and he's still a guy who's not developed. Like, what are we doing?
Yeah, how long does a guy need to develop?
Again, I would put him in also the Baker position. Mediocre, really mediocre. He's not bad, but he's not good.
I don't think he's. I don't think he's good at all. I think he has physical attributes. Okay,
sure. Yeah. He's a beast. Like,
he's tall. He's very muscular, and he has athleticism that you wish for. But
yeah.
As far as being a football player goes, he's not good at that.
No.
You know what I mean?
He's getting by on a lot of plays now on his youth and his, just brute strength, because the guy is a freak. And like that stuff fades quickly for a guy like Njoku. You know, like that's not always going to be there. He's going to have to get by on his football acumen. And that's like the guys that you see that play tight end forever. It's because they learn how to adjust to their body and to become, smarter players. I haven't seen that from Njoku in 5 years. I haven't seen from him that he knows how to make that adjustment or play different. So yeah, I don't know. I guess when you look at what your other options are, I don't know. I just wasn't happy with this at all.
No.
And we have Hooper. We're going to be spending $20 million on two guys that had 800 receiving yards last year.
Total. Yeah.
People bitched about how much we paid Beckham and Landry, and they were outproducing these guys combined. You know what I mean? One of them was.
Right.
So, like, what are we doing here? Like,
who knows, dude? Who knows?
And there's like rumors that they're trying to discuss a multi-year extension, but they pay him $13 million a year. Njoku, by the way.
Like, for what?
He overpaid on his 5th-year option where he made $6 million. Okay, he's overpaid on his franchise tag where he's making just under 11.
Yep.
13 would be a colossal overpay. It would be so bad. He doesn't do enough. Okay. And I tried making this argument a week ago, and someone decided to cherry pick some bad passes and send it. And I'm like, okay, how about the other 4 years? You know what I mean?
Right. Let's look at the other 4 years of tape.
Yeah, what are we doing? Like, it's not just 1 year of bad passes. We have 5 years of film. We have 5 years of data. We have 5 years of watching a player. He hasn't really developed all that much. Has he improved? Sure. But he has not improved to a point where you should be paying him $13 million.
Right.
It's the same argument I've made about Baker Mayfield, where we have enough years of footage of him to see who he is at this point. Yeah,
it feels like a lot of these moves are just being made because like the list of available receivers for the Browns is it's dwindling. You got it right here on the show sheet, James. The list of available options for the Browns at wide receiver to catch the ball, period, in our offense is dwindling. So to me, a franchise tag of Njoku almost feels a little bit like that feels a little desperate to me too. It's like you're praying that this guy is going to produce based off of the number you're paying him.
Yeah. I mean, right now, I don't see who's going to be catching passes from Baker Mayfield since it apparently feels like, or it seems like he's going to be our starting quarterback, whether we like it or not. So it's like, who's going to catch passes from him? I don't see anybody.
Yeah, it's not a good situation for the Browns. And the problem is we have a lot of other holes that need filled too. If that was the one weakness on this team, then we'd be all right. We could go out and address it in the draft and, maybe get a guy in free agency. But like that whole room stinks other than Landry.
I mean, you look at the guys that they're going to be interested in. It was Chris Godwin. It was Mike Williams. It still is Amari Cooper to figure out his whole situation. But like, 2 of those guys are unavailable, and Amari Cooper can get traded somewhere else. And like, you don't know what you're going to have. I think there's a very good reason why there hasn't been a Landry move yet. Okay. And it's because if you get rid of him, you're left with Donovan Peoples-Jones, who's not particularly anything special, and Anthony Schwartz, who's not good at all. Okay.
No.
It took me a second. I was looking up Njoku's stat ranks against other tight ends for this past season. His 36 receptions ranked 24th. His 475 yards ranked 22nd, and his 4 touchdowns are tied for 12th.
Yeah, I mean he's one of the worst tight ends in the league.
And so his best year, I even went and took his best year of 2018 and compared it against where he would have ranked this year with those stats. His 56 catches would have been tied for 13th. His 639 yards would have been 12th, and his 4 touchdowns again tied for 12th. Again, his best year, he still wasn't a top 10 tight end.
That's ridiculous.
And we're paying him the average of the top 5 salaries.
Yeah, it's ridiculous because, that's how they do the math on the franchise tag. It's either the average or they do the 120% of the previous contract.
That's when the second one goes.
Okay,
you pay him twice, it gets another 25% gets tacked on to what he had last year.
Right. So what we're saying by paying him this money is like, hey, you're worthy of top 5 tight end money, and that just boggles my mind.
He's not. I'm sorry.
Yeah, he's just not.
You texted me what Pat McAfee said when they tagged him. He's had one game in his career with more than 80 yards.
Yeah.
I mean, what are we doing? I mean, I even lowered the threshold to, I think, 60 yards, and he's had like 7 games, I think.
That was alarming because when I heard the 80-yard thing, I knew that. You kind of just know that being a Browns fan. But when you looked up the 60-yard stat, I was like, whoa, it's really bad.
Yeah. My computer
20 yards was the most common. That would be the mode of the data set would be that, wouldn't it?
I think so, but it's just like he's definitely not top 5 in terms of tight ends. I wouldn't even put him top 10. Top 15, no. Top 20, probably not.
Right.
Top 25? Is that where he is? Top 25? Or do I have to keep going further out?
I'd say top 25 is fair, but that's
top
not
25 is probably where you need to be. But like,
he's a starter. We're not saying he's not a starter, but depends what team he's on.
He shared time with Austin Hooper, a lot of shared time.
Yeah, he hasn't really established himself as the guy on our team ever.
You see them when they come out, the starting lineup, it's Austin Hooper that's out there. It's not David Njoku.
Yeah, that's
correct.
True. I mean,
yep.
Even though he gets listed as a starter and he has starts next to his name, when they come out there and they go, one tight end, a couple receivers or whatever.
Yeah.
Super that's out there.
You have a really good point there.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I don't know why they're doing this. I mean, like, they're paying so much money to tight ends. I get they're probably scared about not having tight ends.
Yeah.
But like, what they're doing is they're backing themselves even further into the corner of not having a team that's like fast enough. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
When you're paying this much money to tight ends, you're not going to be able to pay money for a receiver either through free agency or trading and acquiring an already existing contract. Okay. And I mean, like, listen, they could draft Garrett Wilson and he could be really good, but receivers traditionally don't translate well in year one. We've been spoiled with guys like Jamar Chase. You know what I mean?
That recency bias where people think like, oh yeah, now anybody can come into the league and make an impact as a rookie at wide receiver.
Look at all these other receivers that have been drafted. You know what I mean? You look at the one, but not
they are the exception.
Round.
Yeah.
Right.
You don't look at the other 4 in the first round that were like caught like 20 passes for 400 yards or whatever.
Right.
You know what I mean?
I mean, look at before the Bengals drafted Jamar Chase, they drafted Joe Ross, the receiver out of Washington.
John Ross.
Yeah.
Oh, man. John Ross.
Or John Ross, excuse me. Sorry.
Speedster, right? Real fast.
Yeah, speedster. Yeah. He was supposed to be the next great thing, and
I knew that was a complete flop. I knew that wasn't going to work out from the jump. The guy wasn't shit. He just ran fast, but he didn't run fast in the right shoes, so he didn't win an island. But because that was more Nikes, I think.
Yeah. What about DK Metcalf now? I just thought about this. Now that Russell Wilson's gone, he can't be too happy with the quarterback situation there.
He's probably not because currently it's starting quarterback Drew Lock.
He would be a really nice piece in orange and brown.
Yeah,
I imagine Seattle's going to do something with their quarterback situation. DK Metcalf right now isn't expensive, so there's no reason for them to trade him.
Yeah, that's true. That's a good point. Yeah.
Fair point.
Lockett, on the other hand, is someone that they might look to unload that the Browns could be interested in, but he really doesn't move the needle for me all that much.
No,
Tyler Lockett's fine. He's fine. is he going to magically fix the Browns offense? No.
Right.
But like that's where we're at. Like you need to get him in addition to another guy and draft a guy.
Yep.
Yeah. And here's the thing, like the Browns are still going to run this 12 personnel set or 13 personnel set where we're going to run the ball no matter what. And it's like, okay, I'm a wide receiver. Why do I want to come play for you?
Nobody should want to come play for. This is not a wide receiver friendly offense. Okay.
Exactly. That's my point.
It wasn't a receiver-friendly offense, particularly all that much when Stefanski was in Minnesota. He just had a better quarterback that produced better numbers for his receivers. Okay,
right. And that's how they're justifying this franchise tag situation with Njoku is tight ends are so important in this offense and blah, blah, blah. But, yeah, you're right, Josh. Like, what wide receiver out there is going to want to come to Cleveland with Baker Mayfield at quarterback and the numbers that they see of the guys on the team for the past couple of years? Like, nobody has produced on this team.
Yeah.
So there's very little reason, and then you add to the fact that it's Cleveland, and it's cold and shitty. So
yeah,
I don't want to come here, and that doesn't help things either. So DK Metcalf's a guy that it's like, maybe you could go out and get him in a trade because he's not a guy you're going to bring here in free agency.
No.
The only way would be through trade. And honestly, if I was a receiver who was good and got traded to Cleveland, I'd pull Gronk, be like, I'm retired.
Yeah, and that's a very real possibility.
That's what I would do. Like, I got my money if I've been paid. If I was Tyler Lockett, I would pull. I'm retiring.
Yeah,
if he traded me to the Browns.
Metcalf reminds me of Josh Gordon so much, like minus being high.
They're very similar players because Josh Gordon produced a lot, but I think we honestly overrated his actual ability.
Yeah,
because first of all, because the Browns are shit, okay? The receiver in the passing game was shit, but he was just so good for that 1 year. But the dude ran tons of slant patterns, okay?
Yeah.
He ran tons of go routes. He wasn't doing anything, that was otherworldly. He was great at the slant, was great at the go, he was great at a post, okay? Yeah. The three most basic routes you can run as a receiver.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's what he did. He was really good at them, and that was awesome. He had great catch and run ability. Awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But he wasn't doing anything crazy. You see those videos of guys doing those route running things. You remember back in the day, Andrew Hawkins' video that went viral of him doing the little warm up. Josh Gordon wasn't doing that.
No, there's no chance in hell Josh Gordon's doing that.
Absolutely not.
No, that's why Metcalf. It reminds me a lot of Gordon. Like you look at the guy with the shirt off, and it's like, holy crap! Like this guy is an alien. Like, and they do things in training camp athletically, like 40-inch verticals that go up in the air and grab balls and do things that are just like jaw dropping. And it gets them, like, people get this false perception that, oh, he's a really great wide receiver. Like, well, no, he's a really great athlete who produced for a year because we really didn't have any other person on the team to get the ball to. So James, you make a good point. Like Josh Gordon never really separated himself to the extent that I would argue that DK Metcalf has. Like, he's earning respect as one of the better wide receivers in the league.
And I guess looking at the Seahawks from a bigger picture, Pete Carroll has said he doesn't want to be part of a rebuild. Well, guess what, dude?
You're part of a rebuild.
You're officially part of a rebuild now because they got rid of Russell Wilson, like we talked about earlier. They got rid of Bobby Wagner, like we talked about earlier. They'll probably get rid of Tyler Lockett in the next 48 hours, if I had to guess. I'm not basing that off of reports or anything. That's just my prediction. And they'll probably get rid of other key pieces, and Pete Carroll's going to be like, okay, I'm gone. Bye.
It's interesting.
They're going to be doing something at the quarterback position. I don't think they're going to be walking in week one with Drew Lock. Okay.
They can't.
They can't. You're right. They can't. You got to look at some of these other quarterbacks that aren't particularly all that interesting, or some of the guys that you got to look at that could at least be stabilizers. Okay. So Teddy Bridgewater is not outstanding, but he would be falling into the stabilizer category.
What about a Trubisky?
Or they could do a Trubisky if you're going to be running that more of a run-heavy scheme, which is what Pete Carroll and the Seahawks apparently want to do. And it's part of the reason why Russell Wilson wanted out in the first place.
That might be
look at guys like, again, not exciting, but
What about Mariota?
Tyrod Taylor.
Yeah.
That group. Or they could get all weird and want to go with famous Jameis Winston.
Yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I mean, he's got a pretty good arm.
Yeah, absolutely.
He could get it downfield to Metcalf. He can get it to Lockett.
Yeah.
That would be one hell of a bold move if they went and got out Jameis Winston.
I could see Jameis in Seattle. Oh my goodness,
I
love that. I love that. I hope that happens.
You know what's
funny? Up somewhere.
I looked at the Broncos list of opponents for the upcoming season because I just think that's fun to do. They play the Seahawks this year.
Mm-hmm.
That's going to be a fun matchup.
Oh, quick update on the Carson Wentz trade final returns because we did not have it when we talked about it. But the Commanders get Carson Wentz and a second-round pick this year. The Colts get the Commanders' second-round pick this year, their third-round pick this year, and next year's third that can become a second if Wentz plays 70% of the plays.
Oh, okay.
Okay, that's a little bit bigger return for Carson Wentz than I thought the Colts were going to get.
Yeah, I mean, they did have to give up a second-round pick in order to get a second-round pick.
Right.
And to pick that, I mean, it's all driven by that second-round pick right there, but they were very much ready to get away from that. But one last thing about Njoku, because I had to reload my website on my phone. The 60-yard barrier, more than 60 yards just 7 times in his career, and 2 of them were last season. Okay.
How many total games in his career?
65.
And he's only made it 7 times over 60 yards.
Mm-hmm.
That is terrible.
Prior to week 1, where he had 76 yards, the last time he had 60 yards in a game was at the end of 2018. 49 of his 65 games, he's had less than 40 yards receiving. And he's more, in fact, to have 0 to 20 yards receiving, 37 occurrences, than 21 or more, 28 occurrences. And they're paying this guy $11 million.
For what? Again, that's my question. Why did we franchise tag him?
Desperation.
I mean,
yeah.
I don't have an agenda here. I'm just stating facts. These are facts. This is what's happened.
It felt like the Browns franchise tagged him because they had to use the franchise tag on some. You're not even required to use the franchise tag.
You're not. I mean, if they really felt like they were worried about someone signing him to a whole bunch of money, they should have transition tagged him if they really wanted to use a tag of any sort. Okay.
Right.
You know what they did with Alex Mack back in the day.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Yeah.
That's what I would have done.
Mm-hmm.
If they were really worried about him going elsewhere and developing to something. But franchise tag's aggressive. Transition tag at least gives you the ability to get out from it. You know what I mean?
Right. You got to have a little bit of an insurance policy there.
Yeah. So I mean, that's what we're at. That's where we're at with Mr. Njoku. But
meh
is the right way to put it.
Meh.
I feel like Matt is putting it nicely.
So do either of you think that the Browns are going to do anything remotely interesting before the start of training camp?
No.
Don't anticipate any big moves, any big signings. No.
Unless they fulfill my wildest dreams and sign Bobby Wagner, no.
Yeah.
The Browns have never, unfortunately, I don't know if this is because of the Haslams or what, but the Browns have never been that type of franchise. They're not like the Anaheim Angels, where the Angels just go out and sign like Albert Pujols and Josh Hamilton and all that. The Browns are just like, yeah, whatever. You go get those guys. We're just going to stay here and be mediocre like we always are. And
I know this is because you're young, okay? Okay, I know this is because you're young. But one, this is pre-Baltimore move, Andre Rison. They spent a lot of money on him, and it blew up in their face. But even in 2007, they went and got Joe Jaravicius. They got LaCharles Bentley, I think, that year, or that might have been before that. But Joe Jaravicius, Sean Smith, Robert Smith, they spent heavily that year.
And look what it got them. Yeah.
I mean, 07 got them to 10-6.
Yeah.
And then the next year they spent big on Dante Stallworth, and Dante Stallworth stepped on Braylon Edwards' foot in training camp, and that sent him back for the first couple weeks. Then Dante Stallworth ended up getting into a car accident.
Yeah, he killed a guy. Brick killed a guy.
Yeah,
in Miami.
I vaguely remember that story.
Yeah,
they just haven't worked out all that well most of the time. I mean, we had a year of Joe Jurevicius before he got staph infections. LaCharles Bentley almost lost his legs because of staph infections. Okay.
Yeah, that was a big problem.
I don't know what the hell was going on there. Like, there was just like running.
Raylan Edwards had a staph infection while he was here. Like, there's a lot of guys that got staph.
Okay, so let me rephrase. Since the Haslams took over.
There we go.
Okay.
That's a little bit more accurate. I mean, they did spend a lot last year. John Johnson, Troy Hill,
that's true.
County. I mean, they did spend a lot last year, but
in general, the Browns are not big.
They haven't because you're right. In general, they haven't because for most of it, for a good portion of it, they tore the team down to nothing, like really early on in their ownership. Okay.
And when you don't have a quarterback to stabilize a franchise and you don't have that guy, like, you're always going to be searching for that guy. Like, that's always going to be priority number one. And that's been part of the problem is we have not found a stable starting quarterback to where, you know, you can go out and spend money because you know what you're going to get out of the guy at quarterback. You know, they clearly don't believe enough in Baker to go out and make splash moves or to try to get guys that we've just not even picked up the phone for. Mm-hmm. If they believed in Baker and thought they could get that much out of him, they'd be a lot more active right now. I think their lack of activity and the franchise tagging of Njoku is the Browns just being okay with being the Browns right now and knowing that we're not going to be that good this year. That's what it feels like. And they're trying to do, I don't know what their long-term plan is, but it appears like they've kind of written this season off before it's even started.
Yeah.
It seems like this is going to be a lame duck season in more ways than one. Overall, the team and where they're going to finish.
Quarterback limbo, you know.
Definitely the quarterback going into the fifth year without a new deal.
Yeah.
Because as we all know, those situations always work
out well.
It's never a dark cloud. It's never dramatic. Not at all.
No. What are you talking about?
And Baker is the type of guy to make a situation like that worse. Like he pisses on, like he pisses gasoline on fire. That's what the dude does. Every time there's a situation like that, like he just makes it completely worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, to have him as a lame duck quarterback with no deal in place, like he's going to be grumpy at the start of the season already, and we know he's a diva, and it's just going to drag out and be a terrible situation. So yeah, I'm not really. I mean, I'm excited for this football season because God damn it, I love football. But I am not too excited for the Browns' prospects this year.
No.
Just being honest.
Do you remember last year how I was saying, like, coming off that playoff season, the Browns should have had 3 or 4 primetime games? I was saying that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
This season, the Browns should only have 1 at most.
I don't want to see a single primetime game. We've gone over this. I hate primetime games. In that 1 o'clock start, my misery is over by 4 o'clock, and I can watch actual good teams play. Okay? That's what I want. Okay. That's what I want. That's what I want.
All right.
I love 1 o'clock starts. I think the less big time stages that we're on, the better, especially for this team.
Yeah. I'm just saying, realistically, we're probably going to be on 1.
We have 1 player on our team that is worth tuning in for. Like, that's it. You know, I mean, a couple maybe, but like for an average fan, like Myles Garrett,
it's Myles Garrett and Nick Chubb.
Chubb for maybe a little bit more of a football fan, Nick Chubb, but we don't have any. There's nothing to tune in for with this team. Why would they schedule them? There's nothing exciting about this team in any way.
I mean, you look at the list of opponents we have this season. We have AFC North, so we know what that entails: Baltimore, Cincinnati, Pittsburgh. Then I've memorized the entire list of opponents for the Browns. So you're welcome. You're welcome, world. And then we get the NFC South. So we host New Orleans, and we'll host Tampa Bay, if I remember correctly, at Carolina, at Atlanta, and then AFC East at Buffalo, at Miami, host New England, host the Jets. And then as a result of the third place schedule, we host the Chargers. We'll be at Houston. And then for our 17th game, we get to play at the Commanders. You're welcome. That is your full list of opponents.
None of those are primetime games. You might get one of a divisional game.
That's what I said.
Yeah.
One divisional game. But that's
all the others should be 1 o'clock games. We shouldn't have any.
I would love for the full 1 o'clock schedule, all 17 games.
Same here. I love it. 1 o'clock games all year long.
Don't give me the Thursday night bullshit. Don't give me the Saturday night. There's no reason this team should play on Monday.
No,
I don't need it.
Give me the Sunday 1 o'clock, or unless they're on the West Coast, the 4:05 start.
Sure.
yeah.
I can live at 4:05, but yeah, these 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock starts, it's for the birds. I just can't stay up that late.
It's horrible. I hate it. Like
Mhm.
I will watch the primetime games to halftime, and if I still have energy, I will watch the second half. I just go to bed.
There's a reason 90% of the people who do our jobs are on Adderall, and it's because they have to stay up for 3 hours in the morning watching shitty football games at 8 o'clock starts on a Tuesday, whatever god awful day and start time the NFL chooses next. I'm sure Tuesday night football's coming.
Oh, it is. It's gonna come. I mean, but like they're slamming coffee and energy drinks, and they have terrible eating habits. Their sleep schedules are completely fucked. That's just what it is.
That's the life of a sports journalist. So.
Yeah. And we're all three of us are in it. By the way,
I mean, you got to be wired different, and we certainly are in our own ways. But yeah, when it comes to like my enjoyment, my personal sports viewership, get it. Like, I want to wake up, be excited for it, have a cup of coffee, watch the game, and then it be over and go about my day. I don't want to sit and stew for 8 hours waiting for the start of the match and go over in my head all the things that are going to possibly go wrong. And I'm with you, James. Get it over with.
I'm in the middle, I'll say. Sometimes I like the primetime games, but other times I'm with you where I'm just like, nope, I want the 1 o'clock game. That's it.
You are obsessed with the scheduling, so don't pretend like you're not. You care a lot. You care an awful lot about those primetime games. I know you're disappointed when you see the Browns and they're not on them.
I'm not disappointed about the Browns not being on them because this team doesn't deserve to be on primetime, Brian. There it is. I am saying it outright, right here, right now. The Cleveland Browns, as presently constructed, do not deserve to be on prime time football.
Yeah. When I look at this team, I see 7-10. I don't know about you guys. I see
that's
7.
Probably where I'm at right now. Barring something completely outrageous or extreme happening.
Yep.
7-10.
Yeah,
Okay.
7-10 might be a little generous even.
There's obvious problem with quarterback. You don't know who the hell the receivers are going to be.
Right.
They have a giant hole in the center of their defense. They're going to have to get 3 new starters on the defensive line. Okay.
Yeah.
They move on from Landry. They're going to have to get 3 new starters at receiver.
Yeah.
Gosh. And I mean, I don't know about you, but to me, it feels like Jarvis I think he's gone. I don't think he's stay. I think he should stay. They should sign him, but I have a feeling they're not. I don't know. It feels like he's gone already, and our number one guy right now is DPJ, and
it's gross.
It's gross. It really is. Him and David and Joe
has a foot out the door.
Yeah,
Landry and the Browns did meet, or at least his representatives met at the combine. Okay, so something with that is going to happen soon. Okay, but we don't know what it is. He's still under contract currently. That's what we know.
His value's gone way up with the signing of with these other guys signing their deals. His value's gone up.
I think what the Browns should be doing right now is look around and see how all these guys that would have been actual targets are now gone.
Yeah.
And identify that they can't afford to move on from Landry. They really can't.
Yeah. That's why I'm wondering why did they not franchise tag Landry?
Oh, he's still under contract.
Oh, that's why.
Yeah. So he's still under contract for another year, I believe.
Okay.
He's either 1 or 2. Because I remember 1 season.
And he's made it no secret. Like, he's been very supportive of OBJ on his way out the door to LA and been, outwardly very happy and positive about him and his success there. Like, that's got to be weighing on a guy like Jarvis, and to see, his best friend come in and, not be producing and then leave and then start, you all of a sudden become an all-pro talent and, you're on pace to be the Super Bowl MVP before you get hurt. I think he sees that and he's thinking to himself, like, man, how long do I want to stay here? How long do I want to waste away in this place, before I have that opportunity?
Yeah.
So it just doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel good to me. I feel like he might want out regardless of,
He did say that he does want to stay in Cleveland. He has said that. But you got to think, like, he probably kind of wants to get out too at the same time. You know what I mean?
When you're trying to negotiate and stuff like that too, like, you can't say you don't want to be in Cleveland and then expect the Browns to pay you whatever you're looking for, if he's looking for some pay raise or anything. But yeah, it's.
But I mean, hey, they franchise tag and are trying to get a multi-year deal to a guy that's had 2 trade requests. So
yeah,
I don't know what the hell they're doing.
Yeah, I mean, by the same token, I know we already gave Nick Chubb a contract extension, but who's to say he's not going to want out when he sees, like, oh, well, 2020 was a complete and total anomaly. Like, we're not actually going to be able to stay good and all that. Like, who's to say he's not going to suddenly request a trade?
Yeah, I mean, it's becoming more and more common for guys to request trades and want out of places. And, the more leverage that players get in these situations, the more we're going to see it. And you're right, Josh. I mean, we don't know. Like, by all means, like, he seems like a very pro Cleveland and positive guy in the locker room. And he seems to enjoy being a Cleveland Brown. But yeah, like, you never know.
Right.
I'm looking at Nick Chubb's contract, okay, which the Browns.
By the way, I'm not formally accusing him of saying he wants out or anything.
The Browns made out in this deal so well, by the way. Such a bargain deal. But only $1.2 million in dead cap this year, then 0 as soon as next year, and 0 for the year after that.
Yeah.
They could hypothetically cut him after this year and have 0 dead cap. 0 dead money.
Insane.
They'd be dumb to do that, but still.
They would be, but, he's a running back. What if he has some major injury or he's just not good enough next year? Like, he hits the wall next year. You know what I mean? We're entering year 5 of Nick Chubb. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
He's 27 years old this year. This is generally when you start to see the beginnings of the slowdown.
You see the blown Achilles's and all the things that happen to running backs. Like, this is around the age.
This year.
Yeah. And
so
here's the problem too, which is, like, when you go to games, like, all this season, all you heard when we were on offense was Chubb, 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 Chubb.
Oh, you mean the failed Baker Mayfield chant at the beginning of the game that was started by some stupid fan group that didn't start? What a clown show that was, okay?
God, that was so bad.
I think that right there is the perfect transition into a new segment called In Brown's Twitter Nonsense.
Oh, yay!
Okay.
Which one are we highlighting this week? Because there were several ridiculous tweets by Brown's Twitter over the week.
There are several.
Several's not even
many.
Not even playing it nicely, Brian.
Let's just. I'll start with the general theme. Okay, we briefly touched on this earlier, and that was the thought that everyone's happy that that the Browns could be going bad and Baker Mayfield's going to be failed. That general thought that people wanted for the team to improve the quarterback position, and that they're rooting for the team to be bad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, that we saw a lot of that this week.
That's a general theme that I saw. Let me see if I can pull up an exact tweet from an individual. Brian, do you have any ready to go?
Off the top of my head, I just think that like there was a certain Cleveland guy who was, in regards to Davis, the lineman out of Georgia, and him showing out at the combine and people suggesting that maybe if he's around, do the Browns take him? And started making fat jokes to other members of the media. So there's people making absolute clowns out of themselves, and I don't know. It's just ridiculous, especially when it's somebody who hides behind a fake avatar. Like for somebody without their own picture to make fun of the appearance of another person in the media, like it's such a low blow and so classless. It's like, dude, you don't even show your own picture. Like this guy's a freak athlete. He makes you look terrible with the shirt off as well. I guarantee it.
By the way,
that's the toxicity of Browns Twitter, though. It's a lot of that, It's a lot of people who aren't necessarily nice people. That just
and he's also a noted Jarvis Landry hater. The guy's been trying to run the guy out of Cleveland since he got here. Okay.
Yeah. I'm not going to say the guy's name because I just don't want to give credit where it's not due.
Anyone who can do a quick search and figure out what this is, what's going to happen here.
It's not hard.
No,
and say what you want about like other members of the media and their takes on Cleveland Browns football or whatever, they might be wrong in every single one of their articles, but like to go out and like to call them out like for something like that, like their appearance or their weight, it's just like it doesn't fly in this day and age at all.
No, it really doesn't.
Maybe in the 80s, like back when it was kind of like, like you poke fun at people and it was a little more ruthless, but like, I don't know. There's just no place for it in the media. If you ask me, like, if you're going to disagree with people, like prove them wrong, like come with some data. Like, why don't you show them some facts? Like, hey, here's why it's a bad idea. Don't go with, oh yeah, of course you want to bring the big guy to Cleveland so that you look thin. Like,
right. Like when, sorry.
And I'll say this one last thing about this individual. He doesn't bring facts ever. He doesn't. He's very opinionated. If you read any of his tweets, if you read any of his stories, his posts, whatever, it's very opinionated. It's fine to have an opinion, but don't act like you're lording over everyone and like you're this god of Browns football and that whatever you say goes and that you're the one who is always right, because this dude's wrong a lot. I remember a article he wrote after Stafford was traded to the Rams. He said that Baker Mayfield's won a playoff game and Matthew Stafford's never been in a playoff game. Well, that's incorrect.
That's just wrong.
It's wrong. Stafford was in 3 before he went to LA. He lost all 3. But
if you're gonna have a bad take, at least come with some data to like at least support your take, Or like
he came with data and his data was wrong, so that just made it even better.
I mean, at least when we bring opinions to this show, or Brian, when we bring our opinions to the sports journals, we at least usually have like stats or some type of fact to back it up.
Right, and that was the main reason I wanted to call out that particular individual, was because I've never once seen him have like support an argument with facts.
Oh, he doesn't. He doesn't. He never has. He never will. And like, P.S. Just show your face.
Yeah,
I'm tired of you having this stupid. What is this? A Monty Python avatar?
Yeah, some Monty Python.
Yeah, something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, but like really, if you're ever gonna be like, if you're gonna pick on somebody's appearance, you better have a picture of yourself as your avatar. Like you're clearly hiding from. I mean, he can't be too happy with whatever it is he sees in the mirror if he's using that as his image.
His Twitter avatar is that stupid. What is it? A king? Is that what that is?
I think so.
For Twitter, it's on his pages for his profile for like his posts or whatever. So it's the same across the board. Like if you want to be nameless, faceless guy, go all in. Don't even use your real name. Go full PFT comment.
Exactly. Okay? Yeah. If you want to be an anon, be an anon. But like you can't use your real name, but a fake picture. You can't like dip your toes in. You're either all in this or you're not. If you want to be taken seriously, you need to stand by your opinions. And you're not standing by your opinions if you won't even show your face. Yep. So, you're not good. Sorry.
But. No.
Well, I think that's a good first edition of This Week in
Twitter nonsense. Yeah. I mean, that's part of the problem, too, with Twitter is, like, if you choose a side, like, if you choose to be polarizing like this individual does, like, you're going to get a lot of interactions. You know, it's the easy way to get clicks and likes and follows. And any one of us three could do that, and we would immediately see like a bigger following on our channels and on our pages. But like, no, like there's a better way to do this. And at the end of the day, like these guys are never going to be taken seriously. Like, yeah, he might build a nice Twitter following and everybody in Cleveland know who he is because he's got his bad takes or whatever. But like, he's never going to be taken seriously as a journalist if that's the way that he's treating other people. So forget about him.
Forget about it.
So one last football topic here before we go on to some other sports. We spent an hour and a half so far talking about football. Deion Sanders had 2 toes amputated.
Yeah, what?
I did not hear about this.
Yeah, so he had some medical problems last fall, and because he works at Jackson State and he has the affiliation with Barstool, they were filming it for content, and that stuff just dropped this week. And when he had to be away from the team and he had to be in the hospital, he was having like blood circulation issues with 2 of his toes. They had to amputate him, which is why he was in the wheelchair.
Yeah.
Like we knew there was something going on with his foot, but we didn't know what it was, but that's why he was in the wheelchair.
Yeah, it's just crazy. I mean, that's a big deal, you know, like I just, especially for a guy like Deion, who is just so athletic and like, he's still like in great shape. Like, let's be honest, like he's in better shape than a lot of people, like in the in the coaching business by a long shot. Like, man, to lose 2 of your toes like that, he's going to lose a little bit of his, you know, routine. He's going to have to adjust his lifestyle a lot, I think. And I feel really bad for him. It just, by all means, he's doing like he's doing yeoman's work for Jackson State. Let's be honest, like that, he took that school from being, you know, like a well-known historically black college to being like a powerhouse in football, like to going to a 10-win team from nothing overnight. Like he's done great work down there. So yeah, I mean, he's going to be on the list of coaches that are talked about in the future for other bigger college roles. And I just hope this doesn't slow him down because his coaching career is off to such a great start. And I want to see him do big things. I'd love to see Deion be a head coach at a Big Ten school or SEC school, anything, you know. I think he's great, and
Well, if your boy Jim Harbaugh ever leaves, you know Dave Portnoy is going to try and get Deion to go to.
100%. 100%.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
Because El Perez is a U of M alum. He's a big time Michigan guy, and the ability for him to create content and cash in on his own alma mater. He wouldn't think twice about that. You know what I mean?
When I thought that Harbaugh was gone, because there was a couple days there I thought he was gone, I floated the Deion Sanders idea to a couple of my friends, and I'm surprised at actually how good of a reception it got. Like people are really taking Deion seriously as a coach. Like
they are.
He's doing good. So
I mean, Barstool would make an Ann Arbor office just because of that. So
100%.
Dave would like live there during college football season.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah, a lot cheaper than New York.
I'll give you that.
Yeah, but yeah, good for him for sharing it, you know, and it is gross. You know, I'm sorry, like I feel bad for him, but God, I did not want to see a lot of what I saw.
Yeah.
But,
I'm not going to look it up then.
No,
but it is. We should say it's a great series. Like that series they did on Deion last year was phenomenal. I was really excited for the follow-up this year. So, yeah, it's worth checking out, but you can close your eyes for the toes part.
Okay. Ollie will do that.
Yeah.
All right. Time to move on to some other sports.
Wait, there are other sports?
Still happening.
Hardly. This next one is hardly a sport.
Baseball.
Wait, that's a sport?
Lockout's still going on. Apparently, there was a report earlier this week that the shift ban, the larger bases, and the pitch clock were agreed to. Now, for reference, until there's actually a new agreement, nothing's been agreed to. Okay. So you can take that and pretty much throw it in the garbage, but like banning the shift, having larger bases and a pitch clock, like
we're talking about radically changing the game.
Yeah. Like, I don't know what we're doing here. Like, what, you want guys to just hit line drives at the gaps in the infield again?
Yeah.
Like,
didn't I see also that they're getting rid of the bunt?
No, that was fake.
That was fake.
Okay.
Yeah.
That was fake.
I admit I took that hook, line, and sinker.
I saw that, and I saw someone, it wasn't you, someone else tweet about it. And I'm like, what the hell? And I just Googled it. This is a fake account. But, banning the shift, I mean, you look at some of the guys, if they have the shift on them. Like Jose Ramirez, for example, was shifted on the second most last year. Carlos Santana was number 1 at 96 and 97% respectively. Like, they get shifted on a ton.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at Jose Ramirez, he's still able to put up incredible numbers. That just shows how good of a player he is. But it would change so much.
So much.
It would change so much. Like, would you have to stay just on your side of the base? Like, are there ways, like, what loopholes could be exposed here? Like, could the shortstop just move his way basically to second on top of second base and have the second baseman shift over?
They'll find ways around it and to change it. And
yeah.
My thing is like when this happens in other sports, like basketball has had a drastic shift in the style of play with Steph Curry and the 3-point shot. It's like them banning the 3-point shot because certain teams weren't doing well because they didn't have 3-point shooters.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like you don't change, I don't get it. It's like the league needs to adjust. Like if you're a guy who gets shifted onto 96, 97% of the time, like you need to spend a lot of your practice time learning to hit the other way.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like to just get rid of something because you don't like it and certain guys aren't good at it is just not you're setting a bad precedent. It's like every time a new thing like this happens, it's like, oh, well, we'll just ban it, And it's like for a game that's on its last dying breaths right now, to be talking about radically changing the rules when what they should be doing is just making sure they get back on the field and their sport doesn't die completely because everybody's losing interest by the day. That's what really, like, if MLB was doing great, these discussions would make a lot of sense to me. I still wouldn't like them. I still wouldn't be for them, but they'd make sense. But right now, like, we need to get a deal done in baseball to be played again before we worry about any of this shit.
Yeah. And the problem is, like you said, the more time goes by without a deal, the less people are going to care, whether it's our generation or the younger generation. Like, basketball and football have completely taken over the country. And I wouldn't say hockey is too far behind baseball, in my opinion anyway.
They're getting a lot closer. There was once a time where you would be, people would say you're crazy to even put them in the same breath. But now they're both becoming a little bit of a niche market. Like most people I know who are baseball fans are baseball fans, like die hard, love baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're either a big baseball fan or you don't care.
The casual baseball fan really doesn't exist anymore.
That person is gone because of, the spotlight that the NBA and NFL has taken away from them. Mm-hmm. And that's why I think that's, the base of my argument here is like, do we really want to make drastic changes to a game like that we really can't even get people to tune into already? Like I don't see how any of this would make the game more exciting in any way,
I'll say if you ban the shift, you'll have more balls in play that result in hits.
Yeah.
But I mean, what the shift has really done is it led to the creation of the 3 true outcomes player. Okay. And those used to be a rarity. Okay. They're not anymore.
Yeah.
The 3 true outcomes player was so rare that Russell Brannon's nickname was 3TO for standing for 3 true outcomes. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Russell Brannon. I love that name.
Russell and Russell Brannon, 3TO. That was the reason. That was one of the first times I heard the phrase 3 true outcomes with Russell Brannon's second trip to Cleveland. Okay.
Yeah.
But they're so common now. It's led to just less balls in play. And I think one thing that one unintentional aspect and impact that would happen from the pitch clock, because what's not going to really happen all that much is the game speeding up, because your games would be just a little bit faster.
Yeah.
Like the argument I saw was like, if people aren't tuning in to watch 3-hour and 15-minute games, they're not going to tune in to watch 3-hour games.
Yeah, that's the best argument for it, because 15 minutes, what are we really talking about here?
The real impact here is not going to be with the time of the game. It's going to be with the velocity of the pitches. Okay.
Yeah.
Because when they have as much time as they want to re-up their body, get ready, you're not having repeated stress on your muscles. So you're able to completely re-energize, you're able to completely just reset, and you are just able to go from 100 again.
Yeah.
You don't have that declining pitch velocity. If you have a pitch clock and you got to pitch within a certain amount of time, and like it's a really quick one, you'll see guys' velocity dip.
Yeah, for positions like closer, talk about changing, the entire game for a guy like a closer that is so much on rhythm and getting the most out of every single pitch. You know what I mean? Like, there's going to be guys that can't handle a pitch clock. It's going to really throw them off their rhythm. Like, guys are that pitchers more so than anybody. Like, when they get a rhythm that works for them, like, they need to keep it, From time to time, they'll have to change it because guys figure it out a little bit or what have you. But once you find a rhythm that works for you, like, that's usually where you want to stay. And this is going to affect that big time, because guys like Chapman aren't going to throw 104, 104, 102, 102. Like,
same for Jordan Hicks.
Same for Jordan Hicks. Yeah, they're not going to be able to do that for, every single at bat anymore.
And the other part of it too is, I think by instituting a pitch clock, I should say, you're going to cause a lot more injuries too, because like you said, pitchers are having to work their muscles more and more. They're not going to be given that time to like reset and give their muscles a little bit of a break before throwing the next pitch. It's like, oh, I got to get ready right away.
Yeah.
That result in, this type of injury. Or
the best comparison I can make really is, Brian, you've worked out with weights before. You need to wait a certain amount of time before you go again. If you go too fast, you're going to be exhausted quicker, or it's not going to be as good.
Yeah,
of a rep or whatever, or you're going to have a bad set. You have to wait a certain amount of time for your body to get back to where you need to go. And if you go too quick, that's where problems happen.
Exactly. Yeah, I think it's a big safety issue. That's one of the reasons I don't think it's ever going to fly. But yeah, it's just a bad idea in concept from the very beginning, because the whole idea of it was to shorten games. And all that, when you do the math, it really only shortens a game by 15 minutes. So it's like, it's not really doing much of anything. It's just making the game worse. So I just think it's a really bad idea. And I think the other thing you want to keep in mind too is we're talking about how baseball fans are very passionate too. We're the only ones watching right now. So you don't want to piss us off. Don't piss off your only demographic that you have by making the rules of the game ridiculous. You know what I mean? Yeah. And one of the things that people love about baseball too is there's no penalties. It's one of the rare sports. You know what I mean? There's no flags. You don't these stoppages for penalties. That doesn't happen. So it's when you have a pitch clock, what's the penalty going to to be?
I have no idea.
That's never happened in baseball. We've never assessed.
Do you give up a base runner? Do they move one base like a block?
Right.
Blocks, the closest thing. Catcher's interference is another one.
Right. And then
they're not all that common. Interfering or blocking the base paths, another one, but they're not they happen all the time. It's not like a shooting foul in basketball or holding in football.
Exactly. So that opens up that whole, other issue there. So I just don't like it. I don't like any of these. The larger bases makes a little bit more sense from a safety standpoint. Just
a little bit. It could help put an end to the guy sliding into a base and the guy holding the ball on him. The guy happens to come off the base for a microsecond, and because of that one stop frame, he's out. If it helps end that, then sure. Okay.
Yeah.
But that's like the only positive from it.
Right. I agree.
I mean, the biggest thing I've taken away from these negotiations is they're trying to make the smaller market teams like Cleveland, Kansas City, Tampa Bay, Texas, even. I would say Texas is a small market team. Teams like that, they're trying to make them more competitive so that it's not always the Yankees, the Dodgers, the Red Sox, teams like that being shoved down our throat.
I mean, maybe, but like, here's the thing. Like, if you want to increase teams being more competitive, and I feel like part of where you're going towards this was the expanded playoff conversation. Having more teams that make the playoffs is not the way to make teams spend more. Oh, I can spend less money and still get the playoffs? Yeah. They're not going to be inclined to spend more if more teams get in. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like, sure, the Rays have been really good for a really long time. Okay, and they've done things their own way. Okay, but you just can't replicate that. Okay, there's a reason that they do things their way, and they're the only team that's successful at it. The only other team that's remotely close is probably Oakland. Okay,
yeah, I would agree with that. Yeah,
and they're on the verge of moving to Vegas, I would say.
You know they're going to be in Oakland anymore. Okay, but it's not just easy to just duplicate. Mm-hmm. So if you make it an easier way to be cheaper and still get into the postseason, you get that postseason money, you don't think that people are going to go for it? Because they will.
Oh, yeah.
They're watering it down more than anything.
And
that's
real quick, I have some updates on the CBA talks from Ellen Drelich here from The Athletic. The most significant issue remaining is direct draft pick compensation, the elimination of the qualifying offer. The players want it. Baseball has proposed it, but Major League Baseball also wants an international draft, which is a non-starter for the Latin players, apparently.
Yeah.
And the union as a whole probably doesn't want that as well. So that's a problem. And according to Drelich later, the MLPA proposal moved Tay to $65 million on pre-arbitration pool, and the competitive balance thresholds they've come down a little, but not much. 232, 235, 240, 245, 250 over a 5-year period, where baseball basically just wants to be 220 and not move at all.
Mm.
So we're still in
a holding pattern. Nothing's gotten any closer. There was some very, very optimistic false hope on Twitter earlier, and it turned out that, again, nothing has come of it, and baseball has now another phony deadline that they're going to try and enforce because they're going to apparently cancel more games, maybe, even though there's discussion of still having a full 162-game season earlier today, even though they already canceled games by having games be made up on off days and doubleheaders and pushing back the postseason 3 days.
So you're telling me that sometimes stuff that we read on the internet isn't true?
Wait, really?
Ooh, that's a hot take there, James.
Wait, I mean, that's another problem I have with baseball, even as like a baseball fan myself. I think 162 games is too many.
Because I love it. The more the merrier for me as a baseball fan.
Listen, when baseball season's going on and I'm at home, I got baseball on all day.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here watching it every single day.
Same here.
So, give me all the games. Because you know what? In situations like this, when we don't have any, you really miss them.
And baseball needs more games, more than other sports. It's not a game that can be decided in one game like football. You know what I mean? Like you need a long series to determine who has a deeper, better team. You know what I mean? It's a game that lends itself to like the best team in the league can lose 12-0 to the worst team in the league. Mm-hmm. And it happens all the time. Not all the time, but every year, you see a game like that.
I mean, look back to the Nationals back when they won the World Series and how awful they were, like 40 or 60 games in. Like, if they didn't have the full 162, they don't make the playoffs.
That I agree with. So it just feels like maybe I'm not as much of a baseball purist as you guys are in that regard. I will admit to that. that I guess this is a little bit of my younger self coming out. So
your attention span is shorter. Our generation comes from a day where we had a lot more patience, you know. I love the pace of baseball. I love a slow, laid back 3.5 hour baseball game.
Oh, trust me, when I'm at the ball game, I'm like paying attention. When I'm at the stadium and stuff, I'm like paying attention and as much as I can and stuff. But
as much as I can.
Like, even when I'm at home, like watching the game at home, you know, in between pitches, I'll be checking Twitter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
It's one sport that lends itself to like multitasking.
It is. It's great for it.
It really is. And
yeah.
I don't know. I like it, a lot of games. I think baseball needs a lot of games. I get like your argument, like the less games, the easier it is to fill stadiums, the easier it is to get numbers. Like, you know, you're watering it down with a longer season. I get that. But I think that the long season has given some of the best stories that baseball's ever had. Like James said, you know, there are teams that wouldn't have made the postseason if it was only 142 games.
Or teams that would have made the postseason. I mean, think about the Mets collapse in 2005.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, that was one of the most epic collapses of all time. Talk to any Mets fan about that collapse, and they will go off for about 20 minutes. Okay?
Yeah, they might be on your side. Yeah, let's cut a couple games this season.
I mean, you look at stuff like that. I mean, it would change the trajectory of so many teams and where they go and where they end up. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah,
I understand that. I mean, I guess part of the reason I'm saying that is because like you can't really move the season. So I'm not, because like the World Series is called the Fall Classic. So I would never advocate to move it out of September or October. But the problem by the same token is you're going directly against the NFL on not for every game, obviously, but on like the Sunday games, you're going against the NFL. And more likely than not, although it's the postseason, more people are going to probably tune into the NFL.
Yeah, but this is a problem that every other league in America has.
Mm-hmm. It doesn't matter what it is. I mean, there's a reason you see new shows launched after the Super Bowl, and it's always some stupid movie or some stupid show that you know is not going to work. Okay.
Yeah.
There's a reason why you see things and other things just not be relatively competitive in the NFL. You're not going to win against the NFL, okay, and that's fine. It's other sports have to acknowledge that, okay. Right. You're still going to get baseball fans everywhere. All of them are going to watch the World Series.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The casual fan's not their audience. That's not who they're going after.
Exactly.
When it comes to postseason, when it comes to the World Series, they're going after baseball fans and they're going after bars. That's their target audience.
Mm-hmm.
That's who's going to be watching it. But we got 2 minutes left. Jared Allen out indefinitely.
Yeah, we're screwed.
That sucks. The Cavs won last night, barely, but not having Jared Allen gonna be rough for whatever he does come back, if he comes back. But
we've got a tough schedule ahead this month too, so
it's
not getting any easier.
They barely scraped by against the Pacers last night.
Now we have a tough back-to-back against Miami, and then at Miami, at Chicago, and then a 5-game homestand. Clippers. Lakers are in there somewhere. The 76ers, Nuggets, Pistons.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know indefinitely, we don't know, but is there a general vibe of it? Is it, 2 to 4 weeks? Is it 1 month to 2 months? Do we have a vibe at all? Like
just the word indefinitely.
That sucks. Probably not good. That probably means they're doing MRIs and everything else and trying to figure out exactly what's going on. So
yeah.
Well, yeah, the Cavs are in a tight spot right now. Thank God they are where they are. They're definitely exceeding expectations and
just make the playoffs.
The whole city is bought back into the Cavs. That's for sure. People are very excited for them. So hopefully we get these guys healthy soon and back on the court, because it's been a fun year, and I don't want it to end. I don't want it to end as a first, a early exit from the play-in tournament.
No, the play-in tournament is just a participation trophy. It's like when you get that certificate in kindergarten, like, yay, good job.
Yeah, it's the new participation trophy of the NBA.
Yeah,
but that's about all we got for one day, guys. I think we covered everything on the show sheet.
Yep. But before we go, make sure you like, share, and subscribe to the So What's the Catch YouTube channel. You will find this video there shortly after we are done recording, and you will find it on other various platforms as well.
Yeah, thanks for tuning in, guys. It's been a fun show. Fuck Vladimir Putin.
Yep. Do you guys want to plug your YouTube channels or no?
Yeah, Brian at Brian Fraley. That's my name, first and last name. I'm gonna start having some content loaded up there here in the next coming weeks. So yeah, subscribe to that. Why not?
Yeah, check out all my stuff at thisisbelievein.com. It's all there. You'll find it.
And all my stuff is at Unger to the Max. You'll find me there. So see ya.
Au revoir. Adios.